Turns out that an appeals court has decided to re-implement an awful policy in the state of Texas that would limit the number of ballot drop-off locations in the state to one location per county. This was a new order by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, and it's absolutely disastrous when you consider the fact that some of the more populous counties will only have one drop-off location to drop off their ballots. So it could be a problem, especially when it comes to sorting and counting those ballots. Now, the appeals court concluded that Texas is actually expanding voting, even though Abbott's move limited mail-in ballot drop boxes to one per county in a state where some counties are bigger in areas than some states and other counties have larger populations than some states. So the order reversed a move by a federal judge to expand the opportunities voters have to hand in mail-in ballots in person. At least a handful of Texan counties, some of them with populations larger than some states, had planned to set up multiple sites for ballot drop-off. Now, in the beginning of the pandemic, Governor Abbott was like, yeah, a lot of people are gonna vote by mail, and so we need to increase the number of ballot drop-off locations. That's important to do. But then he realized, oh wait, hold on, things aren't looking so great for my buddies. So let me just go ahead and unilaterally limit the number of locations to one per county. Yeah. And luckily, a federal judge had stepped in and blocked Abbott from doing this. Something very similar was implemented in Pennsylvania, and a federal judge blocked it in Pennsylvania as well. Unfortunately, the appeals court, the US Court of Appeals for the 5th District Circuit of Texas, reinstated the voter suppression that Greg Abbott initially wanted to implement.
Exactly, and I think the same thing might have happened in Ohio as well. So he technically expanded it by allowing the ballot drop boxes at all. Even that is, for Texas, it's like, oh my God, they're making it easier to vote, how amazing. And then they realized either what you said, that things aren't looking great for their buddies because this election isn't looking like it's gonna be great for Texas, or Donald Trump began a months-long campaign to demonize literally anything that makes it easier to vote during an election, and he doesn't want to appear to be out of step with the president. But really, what he's done is the perfect thing specifically for Republicans in Texas, because in those small counties where there's just 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people, one drop-off box in these red rural Texas counties is a pretty big expansion of your ability to vote. One of those in Houston is nothing. It doesn't really help much at all. A little bit hypothetically, but not that much. So this is like a barest nod to expanding the vote in the most prohibitively difficult time to vote in living memory, while making it as hard as possible for blue areas.
No, it's beyond frustrating, and they're so transparent. Like Abbott is so transparent about what he's trying to do here. It's no surprise that the more populated parts of Texas lean Democratic, and as a result, he wants to make it even more difficult for people to vote in those areas of Texas. I want to go to this cartoon that really perfectly illustrates what the situation entails. So this cartoon, shows how under this order, like Loving County on the west side of Texas, which has a population of 169 people, has the same number of mail-in drop-off boxes as Harris County on the east side of Texas, which has a population of 4.7 million people. Yeah. So you can see the disparity there. You can see the problem, right? So this is what we're dealing with. And by the way, people want to vote. Luckily, it seems like citizens are very aware of these attempts to suppress the vote. And so right now we're seeing these insane lines when it comes to early voting. And it just really demonstrates, first of all, how difficult it is to vote because you're gonna be waiting in these long lines. But it also shows how defiant people are and how motivated they are to cast their ballots. So even though they're gonna be standing in those long lines, to either vote in person or drop off their ballots, they're motivated to do it, and that's a pretty good sign. John, any final words before we move on?
No, I'm looking for any good signs though.
Yeah,
people to be able to, one good sign, that 97% the registration in Travis County is like the most amazing thing that I've heard, and I really hope it bears out in the actual election.
Yeah, I think The one thing I will say is the media has done a decent job in covering these stories of attempted voter suppression. If people weren't aware of it, I have no doubt that people would wait until election day to show up to either in-person voting places or maybe to mail in their ballots. But people are voting early. I know that I got my mail-in ballot. I'm gonna turn it in very soon. Just wanna make sure I really fully understand those ballot initiatives. They can get tricky. But educate yourself as much as you possibly can on how to register to vote if you haven't already, how to vote, what the voting rules are in your municipality, your state, and please take part in the effort to get that madman out of office because it's important.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.